I'm Keith Van Meter, and I am an emergency physician, board certified in emergency medicine, and have subspecialty board certification interests in medical toxicology and in pediatric emergency medicine and undersea and hyperbaric medicine. I began many years ago to provide care to injured commercial divers offshore. Equipment was aboard the sites that really involved a hyperbaric chamber. And the intervention with hyperbarics on some of these horribly injurious events, use of hyperbaric oxygen, even in divers with serious necrotizing infection, seemed to be extremely remarkable. And the only ingredient that was different from conventional medicine on these cases for their good outcomes was the use of high-dose oxygen. It was the first experience that spurred me on to want to get into this field, because the dose of oxygen was approximately 300% that we were ambu bagging into the patient, and it seemed to do such a good job at resuscitation in a patient that was in dire straits, nearly at the point of death. And I said I had to go into this field. It seemed like an untapped field for its future prospects in resuscitation. I started to get called out to offshore cases, and that's really when it piqued my interest. So the diver was a gentleman at about 45 or so, and he was a supervisor for a difficult task offshore that required divers. And it was the staking into the subsea floor accidentally of a fallen casing that was stabbed near a wellhead. And they wanted to salvage it, pull it back up. And they said, we'll try you on a table 6. Well, he went down to 60 feet, and he actually became hemiplegic, and he got worse. So they did the next thing. They went to 165 feet, and he totally was normal. And so we suspected a pneumothorax. We were still on land, and we had to be shipped out by chopper and locked in and put a chest tube in, and he had a tension pneumothorax. And then we had a rough sea state coming back in. We were locked in this small deck decompression chamber at 165 feet. We were lifted off in the chamber onto a pipe boat after deck, and then sent to shore, and then put on a trailer. And then it had a rope pull for a compressor trailer, and then a pickup truck pulling this string of train cars along on the highway. So we had about a 30-minute transport where we were still able, while on the road, to apply hyperbaric oxygen for the requisite decompression and the salvage of the diver. He was able to get up and walk out of the chamber and then be salvaged by further care at the hospital after we arrived. Well, that was it. By then I knew we had to try to get hyperbaric oxygen immediately to patients in crush injury, in serious necrotizing infection, in cardiopulmonary arrest. Hyperbaric oxygen had to be a drug available to patients right when they were struck with the first sight of an infection that was flesh-eating, like the necrotizing fasciitis, or right at the time of exsanguination when they bled out. And so that meant the hyperbaric oxygen, like that deck decompression chamber that was on the trailer that I mentioned previously, had to be brought to the street. And the only way to do it was to have a hyperbaric ambulance. The sooner the patient can have stabilization and recovery and return of proper blood pressure and proper breathing, that the outcomes are so much better. So the golden hour now really in advanced trauma life support is a golden half hour. And the hyperbaric ambulance would be one of the key ingredients to improve on that half hour. I think the deployment of a hyperbaric ambulance, HyperVan, as we've now proposed its engineering with very good engineers, and with the prospect of paramedics ascribing to this as a new technology for them, I think we are going to change lives and have immensely better outcomes for things that we before thought were impossible.